everywhere. I mean, Widowmines, Banelings.
So many Banelings!
Oh my gosh, it was just incredible. And now I'm so excited to bring the second game of this series here. We're going to be spawning in on MLG Neoplanet S Sleepercells. And on the top right-hand side, this is one of the first few games I quite literally have ever seen him lost. Period. It is going to be TP Esports Aegis as the blue Terran player on the top right-hand side in that 2 o'clock position.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, it is going to be from Team Impulse, the guy who took the last game in a very solid fashion, a guy who's got to be feeling absolutely fantastic right now. It is going to be our red Zerg player, Spawn.
That last game was just crazy. Spawn and Aegis, by the way, have a little bit of a history that I believe we forgot to talk about in the last game. For those of you who don't know, the Heartland Esports Association had a LAN a couple months ago. It's what, July now? Yeah, I think it was 3 months ago. And the grand finals of that LAN was actually TP Aegis versus, I think at the time it was Exion Spawn, or it might have been when they right after the Impulse switch. Either way, these two played in the grand finals, and I believe Aegis won 3-1. And let me tell you, Spawn was
a little bit upset.
Yeah, I mean, he was not happy at all, and I've been talking to him this last week, and he's sitting here like, I know that right now I can crush Aegis. I mean, he was speaking some pretty big words.
Throwing some of that smack around.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see him that he was able to take out Aegis, but I mean, now you got to think, well, Aegis, he just lost that game, and he's sitting, he has a really strong TVZ. Now did he change it up now that he's finally lost a game with Biomine? Or did, I mean, as we saw in the end of the last game, he was starting to add the Hellbats into the composition. So I'm curious to see where he goes, and it's actually going to be a command center first on Neoplanet S.
And it's immediately scouted. Spawn had the drone right up there, was able to actually take a couple nibbles on it, so he knows that this is here. I'm very interested to see what the response from Spawn is going to be. It does look like he will go ahead and drop that 15 hatch, very standard, but he's dropping a pool a little bit quicker here. No, actually, never mind, that's imperfect. The normal time. Okay, there's the extractor.
I know, I was looking around for it too.
The main of Aegis. I was like, he's going for an extractor for fast speed.
I don't exactly know why the extractor's there. I don't. Okay, no, he's not going to cancel it.
He's mine from it, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I thought maybe he was just doing it to save the drone there, but there's no marine out on the map, and Aegis really doesn't focus on gas-heavy strategies, especially when you go command center first. So I think that was kind of interesting on his part.
Yeah, absolutely interesting. I almost would have liked to see him take the one on the low ground so that he knows when the command center lifts off and flies down. That would have been a little bit better. But you know what? The drone's going to be alive. It's going to chill there for quite a while as we do see that hatchery finishing on the low ground in the natural expansion for Spawn. Sixlings on the way, going to go ahead and probably poke out on the map. A little bit of a supply block actually for Aegis. He doesn't have a supply depot on the way either.
Oh, and he's actually pulling so many SCVs up to kill that extractor off. That is a lot. Spawn, apparently not too happy about that, but that's an interesting decision to pull that many workers. That really shows to me that he's looking to do something with that second gas. Oh gosh, Aegis. These two ever polite for as much smack as they talk out of game. Oh dear goodness. Factory.
Looks like that extractor will fall. So there will be another reactor being dropped down. The only thing, because of that, is now Spawn knows that that gas is probably going to be taken because he pulled SCVs to kill it. He knows that there's something gas-heavy going to happen. A couple Lings now on the field going to go ahead and chase this SCV home. Not going to get the kill this time, unfortunately. Although they actually might, because I don't know if that SCV is going to... No, they will get the kill.
That was tragic. That SCV was loyal to the Terran Armada until the very end there. Oh, that was just sad. Spawn's going to be sitting back at home, by the way. I want to mention the fact that in this game, good read by him, a pretty simple read, but I just want to point out to you guys, he did not get metabolic boost this time around because he knows his opponent going command center first. He doesn't need the gas that early on to get the metabolic boost to defend against Hellions or Marine pushes or anything. So good little read by Spawn there, just, pretty much getting as many minerals out on the map as humanly possible. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the third base go down somewhat soon. Actually, there we go, third base going down just now. And it looks like we're sticking on this gasless high queen count build that I personally am actually very fond of.
Speaking of well-known, I actually tried to segue, it didn't work. Over in Aegis's base, however, we do see a starport. It is a quote-unquote Destiny Cloudfist build. It is the quick 1-1-1 after command center, so not as crazy all-in or anything like that. But it will more likely than not be Hellbat?
Hellbat?
No, it's probably going to be the the 2 mine, 6 marine, or 4 marine drop.
Well, he doesn't have the armory coming onto the field right now. So, and there's no eBay, so I'm fairly certain actually is going to be Hellbats. He has 3 different reactors on 3 different buildings coming out right now. Maybe he's just trying to get as many units out. I mean, this is almost like a fake orbital command. Yeah, he's using it for SCV production, mule production, but he has actually a lot of production facilities out on the map right now, and taking the barracks off the reactor.
He's gonna land the command center on the reactor.
And get double SCV.
Yep,
there we go.
obviously.
There we go. I'm a little confused as to why he has this reactor, if he's just going to put a tech lab on the barracks. Going to build another barracks on... I feel like he just could have delayed the reactor, gotten the tech lab earlier. I don't know exactly what the reasoning behind that was. Third base just finishing up now for Spawn. That is going to get immediately scouted out by Aegis. And there we go. Double Hellbat production. Like we were saying in the last series, the Hellbats do have that nerf live, meaning that they now do, I believe it's 12 plus 18 versus light only with Infernal Pre-Igniter.
I'm trying to look at the damage, and it looks like it's just 18
plus 12 versus light. Sorry, I got that backwards.
Where's
I got
the plus
that
12
backwards.
versus light?
If you get Infernal Pre-Igniter, you get the plus 12
Gotcha.
versus light. So that is going to be a factory upgrade. No
Another
tech lab
supply
on the
block.
factory, though. And yeah, there's another supply block. That's not good at all. And oh, that's really not good because we have 22 Zerglings spawning out, metabolic boost, and this could, I don't know, with the Hellbats, I think he's going to be all right. But Aegis needs to still be a little bit careful here, and he really cannot afford these supply blocks because Spawn looking to be kind of aggressive pretty soon here, I think. No Baneling Nest, I don't think, on the field, though. No going to be going for Roaches this game. So, yeah, something a little bit different here out of Spawn, which, you know what, I love that. Pulling out different build orders in this best of 3 series. Even if he won the first one, let's not try to get too stereotypical here with our builds.
Yeah, he's going for pretty much a great counter to this particular style of play. He's going to have a little bit more ability to defend against the Hellbats. Not necessarily as much against the drops, because he will not have the mutas, but he will have the ability to actually, kill Hellbats. Because if you have Lings, unfortunately, the Hellbats just don't die, ever, under any circumstances. Ever die.
We have a double medevac drop sitting with 4 Hellbats just outside, well, the third and the main. There is a Spore Crawler and all these Zerglings here to defend. Oh, that got deflected without a problem here.
Going
to be trying to find another engagement angle. Well, needs to be careful not to take too many shots on this medevac here. And my goodness, Spawn actually has this cornered right now.
He's got Spore Crawlers at both these bases, and the Queen's moving forward to fight it. These medevacs are desperately trying to get out of there. They will boost, go ahead and boost right on out. Doing absolutely no damage. Spawn 100% ready for that. Had units, had Spore Crawlers, able to deal with that, no problem. You see an Overlord flying over Aegis' base as well, and that Overlord's not going to live, is it? No, he's going to go down. But he gets a full scout out.
Right? No. Overlord. Overlord, dude.
This is the point in time when the Overlord starts to creep.
Well, there's another Overlord in the natural, and this one definitely not going to live. The one in the main base still somehow alive. A lot of Zerglings on the bottom bottom left-hand side. There is this one Viking picking away at the Overseers here. Just a little bit annoying. Once again, Terran players loving to do this just to kind of pick away at the supply of their opponents. These 2 medevacs, by the way, running across the middle of the map, but the creep thread is just a beautiful by Spawn here. He has plenty of vision here, and he's really going to be able to see all of these drops coming into play. But oh man, you guys are going to be moving out along the south side of the map. Needs to pull back and go north.
Yes, he does indeed. I do want to real quick mention that Overlord is still alive. Anyway, moving on, we do see Lane is going to go ahead and catch this medevac in the middle of the map. It is going to go ahead and pick up and fly on away. Just trying to pick off a little bit of those creep tumors here, as we do see those medevacs sharking around. They are going towards that natural expansion. They are just sitting there. They are waiting. They are holding off while the Spore Crawler tries to finish up, but they will find just barely a little bit of a room for an engagement. Dropping in, gonna go ahead and try and roasty-toasty some of those drones. Handful go down, nice split out of Spawn. Gonna go ahead and mitigate that damage there. Only 2 workers so far, a couple more probably going to fall here, considering the fact that it is just, Infernal Pre-Igniter actually finishing as well, considering it is just Lings ready to come back. A lot of Lings actually going down. And
The medevac getting taken out with one of those Hellbats inside. That's actually a pretty big investment loss there, especially considering that he's going for these Hellbats. We now have the Infernal Pre-Igniter, so I mean, it's going to be some sort of mech bio play, it looks like, as we do have a lot of bio coming out on the field as well for Aegis. In the meantime, Spawn actually has a pretty good composition against that. Zergling, Baneling, he has centrifugal hooks on time this time. Wow, that is a lot of Hellbats. These Banelings not going to be able to do all that much work, but there's a lot of Roaches here as well. Getting the Baneling connections, actually, going to be pushing straight into that bio armor. army, it gets decimated.
It gets absolutely destroyed, and we do have a handful of units surviving as well as a couple tanks here. So I do not believe Spawn will be able to push this too terribly far. It does look like, however, he is going to push it at the very least to this natural. SCVs are forced to be pulled, which means several of those will more than likely go down. Mules just being landed. It looks like Aegis will clean this up, but that was a nice victory from Spawn. He got a little bit over-eager and possibly overcommitted just a hair. But fantastic engagement. You will lose all of these roaches and a couple of these overseers as well. But he's feeling pretty good right now. Got his third base up established. Probably looking to take a fourth very soon.
Infestation Pit now coming on the field, and I've seen him using Infestors once again. The fungal growth, still a pretty good ability. Could also use that potentially for Swarm Oath, but I don't really think Swarm Oath would be all that great versus this. That's just the option. Or could be going up to Hive for Blinding Cloud with the Vipers, which personally I think that would be an excellent addition to this unit competition. Also, getting the Hydralisk Den, he's just going to make 7 or 8 Hydralisks probably, just to try to pick off a Medevac and maybe even this one Viking running around. This Bio Ball is so small, this cannot do that much damage at all, really. Medevacs flying back and forth. That's a lot of Medevacs for this little bio army, which might get caught out of position here. Zergly's going around the back, going to catch it there, and he's going to be forced to pick up and fly away.
This is the one downside of this Roach-laying Baneling style. He does not have the Mutalisks to pick off those Medevacs, which means Aegis, if he finds himself in a less than advantageous position, he can go ahead and just lift on up, fly on home. So we do see Aegis going to go ahead and take a supply lead once again here. Spawn teching to Hydras. Very interesting decision out of him. And taking that fourth base as well. We do see a drop going ahead and starting to move out on the map, but instead going to go ahead and drop, take out that Ling at the possible third, and hopefully clear out for this command center.
Yeah, the command center needs to lay down fairly shortly because Spawn is now taking a fourth base here. And Aegis really, I mean, yeah, he has a slight supply lead now, but remember, at any point, Spawn can just pop out all of his larvae and make a nice big army here. Looks like this drop going to be coming down at the fourth base here. This is going to get taken out fairly quickly. Pathogen Glands, by the way, is the choice for Spawn. So going to be using the fungal growth to lock the bio and pardon me, the mech army in place and get the Baneling connection that he really wants to get. Oh, needs to be careful there. This army rallying up, but the tanks are now sieged up and in position. Spawn, are you going to engage this? I don't think that he really should right here.
No, not at all. He is going to go ahead and pull back to the creep, which is where you should engage as a Zerg player. A decent little chunk of Banelings as well as Hydras now added on to this composition, so he will be able to have at least a little bit of ability to take out those Medevacs. Absolutely love that coming out of Spawn here. Spawn's still behind just a hair in supply. I do want to real quick jump and check upgrades. Looks like it is one Carapace and one melee attack for our Zerg player. And for our Terran player, it is 1-1 for the bio and 0-2 for the vehicles.
Well, right now, Aegis is just kind of positioning himself a little bit here, a little bit there. Looks like he's finally going to be moving down to the south side of the map. Unfortunately, these two units right here, they are going to be traitors, revealing the position. And Aegis just kind of deciding, you know what, my units are going to split. I may as well take out some of this creep shred, which is beautiful right now by Spawn. For those of you who don't know, by the way, the Zerg do get a movement speed increase while they engage on the creep here. And so it's really dangerous for Aegis to be pushing onto this creep right here and moving up towards the third base, which also contains the macro hatchery, which allows Spawn to get more units out onto the map. This is looking really bad for Spawn right here.
Beautiful fungal over all the Medevacs and a flank coming in on those tanks. The tanks are getting completely surrounded as well as the bio here. It is actually a very, very close engagement. Unfortunately, the Hydras in the front, we're going to go ahead and get absolutely funneled through a choke and completely cleared out. These two hatcheries on the third are going to fall here. Magratch as well as that third base. Great engagement angle coming out of Aegis there, forcing Spawn into a very unfortunate position. And that's really why Aegis completely dominated that battle. We do see a couple roaches trying to rally in, trying to desperately do something to halt the advance of this Terran force, but unfortunately he is going to go ahead and pull back, transfer all those workers over to this other third base, and just sack his losses. He is pretty much stuck on 100% roaches here. This attack hit before the Vipers, so he's stuck on 100% roaches as he engages, takes out a couple tanks here, but there's still so much bio left. Not a ton, but I think it's enough.
Yeah, Spawn really just could not get quite the right positioning there. The flank was great trying to take out the C-Tanks from the back, but here comes the re-macro of Aegis. Spawn is now down by over 50 supply. This is looking very, very bad for Spawn here. Aegis is just going to be marching straight on in. How much energy do we have on this Viper? Only 55. That's not enough for any ability of the Viper. And this means that Spawn, I think, is going to lose game number 2. And we're going to be going to a game number 3 in this best of 3 series.
Indeed, we are going to that ace match here. This is a great way to start this, or to finish out the series, I suppose.
Yeah, these two players are so evenly matched right now. I'm very impressed by both of their play. I like the combination of the biomech there for Aegis. I mean, it just shows, I mean, he had the same kind of general opener here. It was a little bit different, but I mean, it shows that he can do different compositions, because up to this point, we'd really only seen one thing out of Aegis. So I think that was a good game by him. Spawn changing it up a little bit as well with that Zergling, Baneling, Roach in the early game, and I feel like maybe his transition into either Infestors or Hydralisk was just a little bit late. Aegis was able to move his army out with the medevacs just a few times too often, and I think that was kind of the game changer there.
I think one of the biggest parts of that game, one of the point where the pendulum shifted into Aegis' favor, was there was that huge engagement in the middle of the map with the Roach, Bane, Ling, and he was able to get a really good complete surround and kill off pretty much the entirety of the Terran army, except for that little bit that managed to pick up. But because he overcommitted with that heavy Roach count, he pushed into that third base, desperately trying to do damage, trying to hit the mineral line, trying to make that count. Then he got caught by tanks and just enough remacroing bio that he lost every little bit of those Roaches. So he just wasn't able to really remacro that as quickly as possible.
Yeah, we have game 3.